Facebook. It's me, Bijal Patel. I am here on my Wednesday, 10 a.m. Central Live. This is our new time for going live. It's now on Wednesdays. Typically on Wednesday mornings, I take what I call a lag day, and that allows me to be able to come on here and spend some time with you guys. So today's topic is going to be talking about leading with your brand. And so this is going to be something that's applicable whether you're new, whether you're just starting up, whether you're not that far into your branding, but you have something put together. But it's also applicable if you have a full branding package. You have it now, but you don't know what to do with it. So I'm going to be touching on that. Understanding what makes the difference between a good brand and a great brand, and how does this tie together with what your organic is. Let me see. Okay, cool. All right. Hey, say what's up if you're here. I don't believe 3 minutes has gone by. Maybe I hit this thing earlier than I thought. Yeah, so what we're talking about is, what's up, Melissa? How you doing? Good to see you. So, leading with your brand, the place that starts with is understanding who you are right now as a brand. And so, if you are in the beginning phases and you're still figuring out what that looks like, that's okay, but you still need to have it written down somewhere in paper what the vision for your brand is. What do you want to be known as? What are the outcomes of this time that you have on earth? What do you expect your company to be able to deliver to both your clients, the people you're expecting to help, and then what are you expecting to deliver to people beyond that? That's really what makes your brand. You'll notice that brands, really reputable brands, the ones that people get crazy over and get really loyal over, always have another impact beyond what their current thing that they're selling is. And that's what keeps you rooted in why. Why should I be doing this? Why should I show up today? Why should I go live today? Why does it make a difference? So if you have all of these things in the forefront of your vision, then you're able to go out into the world, be able to share what it is that makes your brand unique and why people should care about it. But if you already know that internally to begin with, it's a lot actually like Queenie B. I love that, Richard. What's up? It's like a merger of your wife, Queenie, and then me, which, I mean, I don't know. Your wife's amazing, so let's just give it a shout out. Guys, let me know if you're here. Say what's up. Drop me a hashtag live. Good morning, Tracy. Girl, drop in for me. Tell me what's going on with, what is your perspective on leading with your brand, Tracy? So Tracy's a friend of mine, former client of mine. She also has a really specific brand strategy that she does for cattle ranchers. And Richard's on here, and he's amazing. He is a HubSpot guru. He takes brochure websites and makes them amazing lead generating machines. What's up, Ryan Hill? How's it going? What's up? What's up? Melissa's live. Give me a hashtag live, y'all. So when you're leading with your brand, that is you knowing what is your compelling point of view. What is your story? What makes you unique? What do you stand for? What are your values, and how do you communicate those? So notice one thing I didn't say. I'll give you like bonus points. Can somebody drop me something I didn't say when I said leading with a brand? I know the comments are a little bit, it auto-corrected to Queenie. I was like, maybe you're just merging like your coach and your wife, whatever. I don't think she'd care, as long as she was mentioned. So what is the thing that's missing here? So the thing that I didn't mention is like some fancy logo. You don't, depending on what stage in your business you're at, and I'm going to define that for you in a second here, you don't need a fancy logo, fancy typography, a whole set of colors that go together, and a bunch of branded posts. So let's be real. The people I'm talking to who are on here are selling high ticket. Let me define what that means. High ticket to me is a range starting at 3,500 going upward, which means past 10, past 20, past 50, and then past 50 I consider that very, very high ticket, so that's in a different realm. But some people have been a little bit confused on what do you mean when you say it's actually, oh, I'm high ticket, I'm at 3,000. And I'm like, here's the range of high ticket. You're at the lowest amount of what's considered high ticket. So you don't lead with your logo. You don't lead with what your name is. How many times do you guys see me dropping a launch in my I don't know when the last time I've actually used my logo is. Actually, Melissa asked me for it on my team, and then she made an awesome graphic for us. Woo woo, shout out Melissa. But no one else really cares. When I say leading with your brand, I'm saying, are you leading with the integrity of what your identity is and your focus of why are you doing this? Why did you wake up this morning and you could have made a choice to lay around, sleep in, watch YouTube videos, pretend like you're reading an entrepreneur book, go for an extra long walk. I'm not saying a walk's not good, but you chose to show up. You chose to post organic. You chose to go live. And there's a reason behind that because you really care about what it is you do beyond just your clients. You care about the message of what your business is trying to do in this world, if that makes sense. Let me know if this is making sense. Brand is more than, Richard's saying brand is more than a logo. Yes, that's for sure. Richard also knows a ton about branding, so I don't remember the last time you've used launch. I don't even think I have a full set of launch files, to be honest. I need to get to that. Yes, Melissa's graphic was dope. So here's the deal: this is why sometimes organic seems hard. Some people fall into the trap of thinking like, one, you need to be some social butterfly and like have witty things to say, etc. You don't have to be witty. You don't have to be funny. And you actually don't even have to be entertaining if that is not your brand persona. If that's not what your company is known for, if your company is more known for like delivering facts, being really efficient, being a kind person who like gives back to charity, you don't have to be funny. You don't have to have memes and be entertaining. You don't have to do that. But what you do have to do is decide who you are and continue to show up every day, every week, and double points for the days you don't want to. That's what starts to build character of what your brand is. That's all branding is as it relates to a company. It's just, who is this invisible three-dimensional character that this business is? Who are they? That's what it means by leading with brand. Now I'm going to get into how does this branding actually connect back with organic. So I am noticing so many people are struggling with organic right now. I don't know if it's the hype of organic and how fast it's supposed to get you results. It doesn't get results super fast. It takes minimum 2 to 3 weeks if you're just starting out, if you're just doing it. But the number one thing as it relates to organic is, one, being authentic, which means you're being true to yourself rather than trying to emulate somebody else, because that will start to spin and you'll go out of alignment. And the second thing is being super consistent with it. So whether you go live once a week, like I do, I go live once a week on Wednesdays, 10 a.m. Before this, I went live once a week on Tuesday, probably for like 8 months. 8 months, I went once a week live on Tuesday, whether I had the mood to do it or not. Like I'd say 50% of the time I didn't want to, or I felt stressed, or I had something else going on. But you gotta show up no matter what. That's what shows you that you are a reliable brand who cares about what you say. And it's a lot like exercise. Once you actually get into the gym and start like the first 5 minutes on the treadmill, you start to get in the mood to do it. Same thing with a live. So I encourage you that video content is where it's at. People have to be able to see and fill you out, and you've got to be able to combine that organic with your written content. They need to see both sides of you, if that makes sense. Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room, Jeff Bezos. Exactly, Richard, 100%. So how do you want to show up? Exactly. So when you're looking at leading with that, you'll start to feel more excited. You'll start to feel more in integrity. You'll be charged up from the inside. So the words that you say land with a different amount of conviction. The other thing that happens is when you consistently show up on your organic, you're keeping a promise back to yourself. What I see happen with a lot of people is they try different organic strategies, which is fine. There is a place for strategy. You need strategy. But the place for strategy is you can't change it every 2 days. That's not how strategy gets tested. Strategy gets tested when you try something consistently for like 4 weeks. And you're like, is this working? What do I need to tweak? Most people don't need to take a huge left turn. So if your organic is not clicking with your audience, there's usually 2 reasons why. It comes down to brand messaging and your brand positioning. So let's start with the easier one. Brand positioning in your organic means, how do you compare to anybody else who talks about this subject? So here I am talking about branding. How do I compare to the other people who are on the internet, on Facebook, who are talking about branding as well? That's one step. The second step is, as it relates to messaging, is how am I talking about branding? So you'll notice with me specifically, and I'm going to use a couple other niches so it makes sense. When I talk about branding, I'm always talking about it within 3 different lenses. One is within branding itself. The second is behind organic marketing, because that's something I'm super good at and have developed a skill set for. I was not good at this last year. I had no concept what organic was. Definitely did not know what a live was. I didn't even know it was called a live. And I didn't understand the reason. I was like, why does it matter? Why do I have to do that? People want to work with me. They should just go look at my work and see if it's a good fit. I didn't think it was a big deal. I learned all of it. So yeah, even 1 year ago, no idea what organic was. And I'll be honest with you, I did not like it at the beginning. Thought it sucked. Hated it. So the number three thing I talk about is sales, because I'm damn good at it. I have a 60% close rate. So I talk about branding, marketing, and sales as it relates to the lens of branding. That's my particular view on what I talk about as it relates to branding. There's one live I did way back where I talked about color psychology, and it was more of an experiment to say, hey, who would think this is entertaining? But it definitely isn't my normal stance. It's not my normal mode. So that's where brand messaging comes in. So when I'm talking about it at this level and within those 3 buckets, I'm specifically targeting business owners who care about sales, marketing, and then want to understand. The ones who are savvy, who are already established, they know branding is important. But the ones who are kind of coming uppers, established, hitting 20K, 50K months, 80K months, sometimes they've gotten away with it before needing to do that. Just I don't know if you guys seen my ads. Drop me a hashtag ad if you've seen my ad, but I've got ads going everywhere. That wasn't a problem for me about 3 months ago. I didn't need to get to that level, but now I'm at the point where, yes, I need paid traffic. I need to put myself out there, which also comes with not only money that gets invested, it also comes with a certain level of scrutiny. I'm still kind of bracing myself for when I get the hate on the ads. I'm not totally ready for that, but I'm getting myself mentally prepared, because when you play at that next level, you're going to get some hate. So guys, drop me some comments, drop me some questions. Is this resonating with you? Where are your questions at? Because I get so many questions as it relates to frustrations around organic. And organic is simply supposed to be an extension of who you are. You're showing it out into the world. You're giving a piece of who you are, what you believe in, and casting it out in the world. And in order to do that, in order to be effective with that, you've got to be consistent on whatever this message is, showing up that way, but you also have to reciprocate that energy to other people's organic. I think that's something that a lot of times we get so caught up in the me world, I world, what's going on with me, that we don't start focusing on what's happening in somebody else's world. And that makes organic be a lot more reciprocal. So if you're just focused on yourself, creating your own content, putting your own content on, guess what? It's not going to pierce as hard. But if you put out energetically that you're commenting on people's organic, I don't care if they're not your prospects. I comment on people's organic all the time, even if it's great, even if it's a competitor of mine, if it's done really well, because I know that person took some effort to put that thing in. They came up, they showed up consistently, I definitely go do it with my clients because I want to get them boosted. I want to see more of their stuff. I want to know where they're at. So that's one thing, is once you have a client in the door, is like making sure you're staying on top of what their content is, commenting on it, letting them know where they're doing well so they know what to do more of. Yeah, Tracy's saying new level, new devils. You got this. Yeah, exactly. So, I know the hate's coming, but I'm kind of waiting for it because honestly speaking, I haven't really gotten any hate. And that's not a compliment. That's not because I'm awesome. I haven't gotten any hate yet because I haven't played at that level yet. I haven't played at that level where the hate's going to start to come. That's when you actually knew you've gotten to that next place. So when it comes to organic, I encourage you to do a variety of different posts. Do some short form, do medium form, do long form. Make sure you go live once a week. At first, it's uncomfortable. At first, it's weird. You don't know if anybody's going to talk to you. You don't know if anybody's going to drop a comment. You don't know if anybody's going to watch you. When I first used to go live, there's like that, tell me if this has happened to you guys, there's that I button in like the top left, and I would just like watch the numbers go up and down like the stock market, and I just want to like hit end. Like I just couldn't, it's not even the comments, it's the fact that I couldn't handle the views going up and down. I'm like, wait, is that something based on what I just said? Because the feedback, it's kind of instantaneous. And so same thing as revenue. You've got to detach from what the revenue is. You've got to focus on what the lead indicators are. And organic, whether you're already into paid traffic and into a paid funnel system, etc., whether you're getting referrals left and right, having a solid foundation of organic will keep your business thriving, and it'll find you new opportunities because you'll start to get creative with it. You'll start to play around with it. You'll start to have fun with it. You'll start to like play with your audience and see, hey, did that messaging work? Did this hit home? Did I polarize enough on this post where I posted something controversial intentionally to kind of like spike up my audience and get a jolt out of them? Am I a thought leader? Am I bringing up interesting points where I'm discussing things other people aren't discussing that need to be discussed in my point of view? That's how you slowly build that authority and you start to build KLT. I've just abbreviated it. KLT, know, like, trust. These are like the basic 3 things of why somebody goes from being marketed to then becoming a fan and then eventually buying from you. So let me know if you guys have questions, guys. For people just getting started, what should they focus on? That's a great question, Richard. Sometimes I go, I'm so used to talking to like established entrepreneurs now that like sometimes I forget the basics. So for people just starting, the best way to start your organic is to do like 20% is personal. You, your family, your dog, you went hiking, you bought a new house, you got a cat, your kid went to preschool the first day, your toddler's walking. You do that about 20% of the time. Other 80% is focused on what your business is and creating conversations around that would attract your avatar and start to create some attention. You need to get some attention around what you're posting and what you're speaking about. That's the first thing. And the easiest way to do that, based on what your offer is and who your avatar is either calling them out. Hey, who here is a business owner who makes over 20K in revenue a month? Drop me an emoji. People love bragging like that they're doing that, right? So you immediately get a call out of who those people are in your circuit. Another way to go about it is to look at their pain points and ask a question as it relates to those pain points. Easiest thing. So everyone knows what their avatar is struggling with. The mistake a lot of people make is they put like each avatar, doesn't really matter what your offer is, you've got between 3 to 5, maybe even 7 pain points that they're dealing with consistently. What I see people goofing up on organic is they try to summarize all 5 pain points in one post. This is one of those less is more kind of activities. 1 pain point per post at the beginning. Otherwise, you will overdo it and you will literally drown your avatar into a bunch of noise. And also, they don't want to read about their pain points all day. You're kind of just like sitting there jabbing them. So let me know if this makes sense from a strategy point of view. Pick 1 pain point. Simplicity is key. And then you want to talk about that and you want to bring up what the pain point is, and then bring up what your position against it is. A lot of times the best way to get some attention and to get some comments going and to get a conversation developed, because conversations are the first thing that needs to happen to build rapport. All this hype about building rapport starts with building a relationship first. And building a relationship online is very similar to building a relationship in person. It also takes time. Building a relationship online isn't like this either. I think a lot of people forget. We're so used to having our phones. You can heart emoji people's stuff. You can like air hug people. You can even hug emoji people's comments that you don't even know, where you wouldn't hug them in person. So that intimacy relationship's a little bit thrown off online. So people act like they know you more intimately, but you really don't. You really don't. So I just came up with this. Call it like the hug test. If you wouldn't see this person and hug them right away when you saw them, and it wouldn't be natural to do so, you need to take a step back in what you're trying to say or how you're trying to coach or how you're trying to approach them. You haven't developed it yet. So pain points are the easiest thing to do. And then the other thing, who's just getting started, share your wins, guys. There's so many new people who are starting who are either embarrassed or like a little shy to get their actual like wins put out there. They get a little bit caught up in like, oh, what will people think? Or I'm not sure if I'm allowed to share it. Just scratch out their name and share the win. Talk about them in a he or she or in a company format. But you have to start being able to promote what your wins are and what wins you got your clients if you really want to go up to that next level. And you want people to start to think of you not as just a newbie, as maybe somebody who's greener, but you're still getting people results. So Ryan's asking, how do you know when organic is not working? And do you know what's not working specifically? That's a great question, Ryan. So you know organic is not working when the only people commenting on it are like your friends and your family. Or I've done this like 100 times. When I put out an organic and the only people who comment are brand people who are like, yeah, preach about brands. I'm like, oh, dang, that's not what I meant. Like, my business is not one of like, I'm not focused on branding other brand people. I will do it when it makes sense and it's a really good fit, but that's not my whole business. And not my focus. So when I get like 10 brand people who are my friends, because we're in the same industry, to be like, preach, Bijal, amen. I'm like, oh, I'm speaking too much brandinese, if you will. And so I've lost who my normal avatar is, which is an established business owner who knows a thing or two about branding, but isn't as into it. So that's when I know that the language I'm speaking is more my industry jargon and I've gone over their head. So I've got to take it down a notch. So that's one way you know. Who's commenting on it, who's liking it, you can kind of tell. And then the second thing is, the way you know what's not working is by trial and error. You've got to show up every day. You can post once a day. You don't need to go live every day. Post once a day and see how it goes. You've got to understand, like, what are you getting feedback on? What are you not getting feedback on? What are people watching? What are people not watching? What are people opting in for your two-step versus what are they not opting in for? I also like to do AMAs, which are Ask Me Anything sometimes in my live, to start culling the audience with like, what is your most recent thing that you're having an issue with? So that helps a ton too. Brandonese. Richard saying transformation occurs in the sharing. Absolutely. That's right. And Richard says, pick one pain point and then explain your position is on it. Exactly. So it is a lot more simple than it seems. And people go in two extremes with it. They go hard and they go fast and then they burn out and then we don't see them online again. They do it for like 3 months and then they're gone. 3 months is a very short-lived game in the online entrepreneur world. You can't go 3 months hard and poof, vanish. You're not allowed to do that. It's not allowed. It won't work for you is what I mean when I say it's not allowed. I tell myself it's not allowed. I just like, this is a rule. We're not allowed to do this because we're not. Like, as a business, as a company, we're not allowed to do it. I'm not allowed to do it. So whether I feel like it or not, I'm going to mostly be posting something every single day. And you know what? Have fun with your organic. Sometimes I post random stuff. Sometimes I post like conversations happening in my mind. Sometimes I post stuff about kids that's annoying or whatever. Sometimes I post like myths about being an entrepreneur. So it can be whatever is in your personality. So sometimes what I do that inspires me, I will post something that recently happened with a client of mine. So whether it's a high or a low, I'm like, hey, this has got to be on other people's minds. So I just did a post on that yesterday, actually. So remembering that you're a human being, you've got to humanize the brand, and it will attract more people. It will attract a following. And the results aren't immediate, but if you do trial and error, you stay methodical with it, it will work. It's a time game. You will win. It's just most people don't stay in it long enough, or they don't get the right feedback from the right coach. All right, guys, that's what I have for you today. Whew, I hope that made more sense about how to lead with your brand, which is not your logo, not just your logo, I'll say. How to lead with your brand, how to show up that way, and how to take all of that goodness you have and turn it into organic. So if you're watching this later, hashtag me with a replay. If this was valuable to you, tell me one thing. I love accountability. Tell me one thing you're going to do differently from what you learned today on today's live. Tell me one thing that hit home to you personally and you're like, here's something easy I can do. So I'm a big fan of low-hanging fruit and the book Atomic Habits. If you haven't read Atomic Habits by James Clear, highly recommend it. It will start to teach you how to take small habits and roll them into bigger habits. And I'm a big fan of trying just one thing, but consistently doing it instead of trying 10 things at once. Here's Chuck. I speak in technical terms as well. I turn the industry language into metaphors. Yeah, metaphors are fantastic. I speak hypnotic jargon and weather geek. I love that. Yeah, so people don't know what that means. The people who need to be hypnotized, like, they don't even know beyond the word hypnotized, maybe NLP, like they don't understand what that actually means. So I love that you have self-awareness of that. So from Chuck, from your point of view, you're going to want to talk about results. Why? Forget even what happened in the hypnosis. This person, John was here, and after 3 sessions of hypnosis, John is here now. Here is a screenshot of John telling me about this transformation. That's it, man. People just want to see what happened in this thing called hypnosis. They don't want to understand your sausage making, right? And they're not that interested in it because they've got their own avatars they're seeking out. So anyways, I hope you found this helpful. Again, hashtag replay later if you found this useful, or let me know if you have questions in the comments. All right, bye guys. Make it an awesome Wednesday.